Prophecy is the ability to receive and interpret spiritual revelations regarding future events. As a renowned spiritual mentor and nature prophet, Godwin Daramola has been endowed with the spiritual gift of prophecy. This sacred ability enables him to foresee future events, guiding individuals and communities towards a path of enlightenment and preparedness. Through his prophetic gift, he has come to understand that some prophecies are absolute and unchangeable, serving as inevitable milestones in the grand tapestry of life. Others can be altered or mitigated through fervent prayers and strategizing. Certain prophecies can have their effects limited or softened through prudent preparation, planning, and strategic action.
We need to pray for South Sudan. I see a war breaking out in South Sudan. I see a war. And this war is going to have to do with oil, petroleum. So it's has to do with resources causing a breakout war. So we need to pray for peace to reign.
Tension is rising in South Sudan after the vice president was put under house arrest. Riek Machar stands accused of involvement in recent battles with the military. Now there are fears the 2018 power-sharing agreement is collapsing. So could this all lead to another civil war? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Cyril Vanier. The world's youngest country, South Sudan, is on the brink of another civil war. That's the warning from the United Nations after weeks of escalating violence. At the core of it all are rising tensions between the president, Salva Kiir, and his vice president, Riek Machar. The VP's arrest has made things worse. His party says the 2018 peace deal that ended years of fighting has now collapsed. That could very well lead to more fighting between government forces and armed groups. And in a country that's still recovering from years of civil war, that's raising alarms in and out of South Sudan. So can the rival parties overcome political mistrust? What role are ethnic divisions playing in all of this? We'll explore these issues with our guests in just a moment. First, though, this report from Katia Lopez-Horayan.
Shortly after South Sudan's Vice President Riek Machar was placed under house arrest by government leaders, his party issued a warning. The 2018 peace deal that ended years of civil war between the rivals is now invalid. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir and VP Machar have been both allies and adversaries. Now they're at odds again, with a long-standing power struggle unraveling in the world's youngest nation.
The peacekeeping mission is once again urging the president and the vice president to resolve their grievances, to end the military confrontation, and uphold the revitalized peace agreement.
A power-sharing deal between Kiir and Machar has not worked. The tension now fueling weeks of fighting between government forces loyal to the president and armed groups, including members of the so-called White Army siding with the VP. Both sides accuse each other of starting the fight.
What you have seen since the 4th of March is an escalation, really, in this conflict between what are supposedly supposed to be forces on the same side. And that's now falling apart.
In the capital, Juba, and across the country, people are dreading the threat of yet another civil war.
I strongly oppose war. I want to protect myself and my family. I pray day and night. I don't want another war.
More than 400,000 people were killed in South Sudan between 2013 and 2018. The army split across ethnic lines, and fighting in the oil-rich nation displaced entire communities. The scars of war are still etched in people's minds. Now the UN is calling on South Sudan's leaders to show restraint, de-escalate, and avoid another civil war. Katia Lopez-Horayan, Al Jazeera, for Inside Story.
Once a beacon of hope as the world's youngest country is South Sudan returning to war. The arrest of Vice President Riek Machar for attempting to incite rebellion has left a crucial power-sharing agreement in tatters. Already suffering one of the world's worst food crises with millions displaced, can South Sudan withstand another descent into conflict? I'm Andrea Sankey, and today's newsmaker is South Sudan. Well, it was a celebrated achievement for the international community in 2011, the creation of a new country under a comprehensive agreement that would bring peace to millions in war-ravaged South Sudan. But praise for that settlement was equally matched by apprehension among those who claimed peace would not be maintained between factions who had fought such a brutal civil war. Today, it seems those cynics have been proven right. That fragile peace agreement is now scarred by the arrests of opposition politicians and violent clashes, spawning thousands more refugees. Here's a look.
In late March, South Sudan's long-standing Vice President Riek Machar was suddenly placed under house arrest, accused by his political rival President Salva Kiir of inciting rebellion after a militia loyal to Machar, known as the White Army, launched attacks against the military. His arrest now threatens to dismantle the hard-won stability promised by a peace agreement reached in 2018. That deal ended a brutal civil war that had raged since 2013 and was designed to bring President Salva Kiir and Machar together in a power-sharing government.
The president did this in order to save the agreement. All these efforts which are being exerted and all these games which were being played around are games which are meant to derail the agreement. There are events for them to ensure that the agreement does not go ahead, that the agreement collapses, so that we don't go for elections.
South Sudan's independence began in 2011 and ended decades of conflict with Sudan, but internal divisions quickly surfaced. The 2013 bitter power struggle between President Kiir and Machar and ensuing civil war claimed hundreds of thousands of lives and displaced millions. The 2018 peace agreement, hailed as a turning point, aimed to restore stability and lay the groundwork for democratic elections. But now, renewed violence in key areas such as Nazir threatens to return the country to civil war. People like Joseph Latio have known nothing but strife, and their plea for unity reflects a deep yearning for peace.
This war isn't helping us at all. We've been in conflict for so long, raised in it, and yet nothing good has come of it. That is why I believe we, the people of South Sudan, must unite.
Both President Kiir and his detained Vice President Machar have maintained their grip on power by commanding vast, loyal armies. This reliance on military force has, over time, entrenched a cycle of rivalry and violence. And international observers, as well as the United Nations, now warn that without urgent dialogue, South Sudan may once again slip into chaos.
All the dark clouds of a perfect storm have descended upon the people of the world's newest country and one of the poorest. A security emergency with intensifying clashes, aerial bombing of civilians, including women and children, the presence of external forces, and an ever-growing regional dimension to the conflict.
South Sudan's fate now hinges on whether its leaders can overcome deep-seated rivalries and embrace dialogue over domination. As the nation's residents hold their breath for urgent reconciliation, the coming days will test if dialogue can prevail over a power struggle that risks undoing years of hard-won peace.